Hey everyone, Kevin here. Okay, we have the entire stimulus package. It is huge. It is over 5,590 pages. I think it's 5,593 to be exact. This is a lot to go through. Now, I've already gone through some sections like stimulus checks, PPP, the EIDL. So I'm going to cover some of these things. What I want to start with, though, is a couple mentions. First, if you want to see the bill yourself, it's going to take a while to go through, but you could go through it with, and then if you want to chat here, if you're watching this live, you can say, hey, Kevin, look at this on page whatever. Go to metkevin.com/bill, and then you'll be able to see the bill yourself. I'm also going to start with just an overview of what we know is in this so far. So let's do the flow chart. Then we're going to go into the actual bill. There's some sections about rental relief I've already read. There's a lot to talk about in this. So let's just go ahead and start with the flow chart. Yeah, we'll go ahead and start with that. After the flow chart, then we'll go ahead and go into the actual bill itself, just so we can see some of the changes. Okay, so here we go. First things first, the flow chart. So we know these are some of the things that we already know. We know that states are going to get 1 year of flexibility on spending CARES Act money. We know that we're going to see $600 per adult. Okay, we do have clarification here on the age, and it's been changed a little bit, unfortunately. So a qualifying child is going to be a child that has not reached the age of 17, not attained age of 17 yet. So that means if somebody's 17 right now, they actually would not get the stimulus check. Not attain the age of 17, that is in the language. We'll see that in just a moment in the actual text. Adult dependents are definitely cut out. I also noticed this, the clarification is actually for every $100 more of income you make, you get a $5 reduction, which means you actually lose your entire stimulus benefit at $87,000 if you're single and $174,000 if you're married filing jointly. And this is when the phase outs start. Thinking about it, for a family of four, even though the $600 check is half, it's almost kind of like it's not really half of last time because the children are now getting a little bit more. So like a family of four is getting $3,400. Last time a family of four would have gotten $3,400. So even though the $600 feels a lot smaller, and it's still a slap in the face, don't get me wrong, I think that's one of the reasons they wanted to keep that child credit up. Now, we did notice that in the text that the mixed family status is in the text. We're going to pull up the text in just a moment. The stimulus check is not taxed. That's in here. Qualification. Okay, so the bill, it's a little tricky the way the bill writes it, but basically they're going to use your 2019 tax return. If you had a higher income in 2019 and you didn't qualify for the check, and your income was lower in 20, you would get that back as a tax refund in 2020 when you go apply. The same is true for the last check. The double dip is not in the bill. I looked in the bill under the stimulus section for the double dip. And again, I'm going to pull that up in a moment. All right, here's a little bit of clarity on unemployment as well. So the unemployment is actually going through to March 14th. But there was always that reference to like, what's the April 5th date that kept coming up? The April 5th is if you start your benefits after March 14th, the benefit will last through April 5th. So that's kind of where that portion is coming from. The PUA, the PEUC, those are being extended starting December 27th. No waiting week. I should write that in here. No waiting week. Some of these things I just read, so I'm writing them off the top of my head first. I want to give you as much of a summary as I can up front, and then we're going to actually pull up the actual bill here, and we'll go through it together. So I want to read about this. I have not read yet about the $100 for the side hustle. I want to find that section. Again, the bill's 5,500 pages long. It's nuts. There is no retroactivity that I found. Nothing that says you are going to get any kind of retroactive money for unemployment. They basically just say, it's $600 between this date and this date, and then it's $300 between this date and this date. There's nothing about back to September or anything like that. Okay. This is big. So the PPP section, I read this in the bill too. The PPP will be tax deductible. And again, I'm going to pull up the bill in just a moment, but just to give you and I wrote this out just to give you an example of what that means. This is actually really big for a business. Think about this, okay? Let's say you have $100,000 of business income off, like a PPP income, basically, and then that offsets $100,000 of expenses. Well, then that's kind of like a wash, right? Because you get 100 in, 100 out, no tax implication there. But what they're actually saying is, we're going to give you $100K tax-free, plus we'll let you deduct your expenses. That's huge. So if you haven't taken the PPP, this is like really, really beneficial, because here's just a way to think about that as an example. If you take a $100,000 PPP loan, you basically get to write off your $100K in expenses. And then on top of that, if you're in the 40% tax bracket, you're getting an extra 40 grand in tax savings. So like, this is called the PPP tax double dip. And that is in the bill. They will let you deduct expenses. So I wrote down another example because I think this might be complicated for the PPP. Think about it this way. Let's say you spend $5,000 on some like business computer or whatever, because COVID broke it, right? And the government comes in and says, here, we bought you a new $5,000 computer. They say, by the way, we gave you this new computer. You're also able to deduct that as if you spent that money. And so now if you paid 40% of taxes, that's like you getting an extra $2,000 in tax savings, right? $5,000 in write-offs, and then $2,000 in tax savings at a 40% tax bracket. So that PPP deductibility thing, huge. Folks, this right here is another example of, I hate to say it, but it's another example of Congress favoring businesses. Congress favors businesses over individuals. Time and time again, real estate, stocks, and businesses get bailed out first. This right here, this tax deductibility for the PPP thing is a massive, massive business bailout. And I guarantee you it's not going to get a lot of coverage in the press. They're just going to go, oh, suffering business, get the second draw on that. And I'm all for the PPP, but I'm telling you, it's a disproportionate stimulus to businesses. Okay, there's also information on targeted EIDLs. It's on page 86 of the COVID relief bill. We're going to go to that in a moment. Now, it's weird how they numbered the pages, so I'm going to have to pull it up and look for it in just a moment. But basically, here's the scoop, because I just want to go through the summary first, and then we'll actually dive into it. So the targeted EIDL grants, you have to be in an area. Oh gosh, what was it? Maybe if I could pull it up. You have to basically be in a low income area. And they'll also have a revision for the previous, hold on a second. Let's see where I wrote it down. So, okay, we're going to pull up EIDL again here. 1 second. Let's pull up the actual bill and look at it, because I already highlighted this section. In fact, if you go to metkevin.com/bill, you'll be able to see the bill. You won't see my highlights in that though. But let me pull up the EIDL, because the targeted really narrows it down to people making or in lower income areas. Here we go. Okay, so this is the part of the bill. So this is very important. So this is on page 261 out of it's actually on page 2184, but when you go to the page, it's labeled 261. I'm telling you, this bill is nuts. It's like so intense, this bill. But anyway, so for the EIDL, it's really important to know what a covered entity is. So a covered entity basically says that you're located in a low income community and you've suffered an income loss, an economic loss of 30%. If you have suffered that, they will actually, I believe it, and you have not more than 300 employees. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Entitlement to the full amount. In general, subject to paragraph 2, a covered entity, after submitting a request to the administrator, so submitting a request to the SBA, and the administrator verifies under subsection C, shall. So basically, if you submit a request, you can get up to your $10,000, that original EIDL money we were promised. And there's no mention in here about having like, how many employees you have or whatever. So basically, it gets tricky, okay? But remember with the EIDL grants, we were able to get $1,000 per employee, right? I can't really see that. There you go. $1,000 per employee was the thing. Well, this bill is saying, hey, we're going to modify the EIDL. And as long as your income is down 30%, and you're located in a low income community, we will let you get up to the full $10,000. So this really important. If you're thinking EIDL, that's what targeted means. Targeted is narrowing you down now to low income communities only and a 30% loss. Now, I haven't read the entire section. Like we'll go through this more in just a moment. I really want to come back to this bill, but let me keep going on the summary really quick. So we defined targeted. I haven't written that in there yet. What else did I already summarize in here? You could screenshot on some of these things if you want to, just to pause for a moment. But energy tax credits. I want to look at this too. There are a ton of tax credits in this. For example, meals are going to be fully deductible for 2 years. Business meals get full deductibility for 2 years. Again, another example of Congress favoring businesses, right? Energy tax credits, huge energy tax credits provisions in this bill. I mean, it is endless. The rental assistance section, the eviction moratorium is in this, and it is in here until January 30th. Now, this section is really complicated when I read it. When I read this part of the bill, this section kind of puts all of the burden on states. It's like, hey, we got all this billions of dollars in rental relief money. We're just going to give it to states. And they have certain rules about, like how much you can get for rent that you're behind and how much you can get for rent going forward. Kind of tricky. So, okay, tax credits, lots of tax credits. Here's a summary I have so far on tax credits. You can screenshot that if you want to. There you go. I'll get out of the way. Earned income tax credit, the child tax credit, those are in here. We got to get some more details. Business meal deduction. Okay, let's now jump into the bill again itself. And let me scroll through some of the sections that I highlighted. And then we'll see what other sections we can find. Remember, if you want to follow along or if you want to try to find your own section you want me to look at, do me a favor and just go to meetkevin.com/bill. You'll see the bill. And then look for a section that you want to look into and then give me a page number. So let's start with the first section that I highlighted, which I believe the first section I highlighted, once I get to it here, was the stimulus check section, though, golly, there are so many pages in this. Do not be surprised if your computer is slow at actually loading these. But I want to open up the stimulus check section, if I could find the darn thing. Where did I put it? I will find it. Either way, so the first part of this, we got our, there we go. Here we go. Okay, so the first part of this video, so far we've gotten our summary. Now we're going to go into the actual text to try to get some more details here to figure out what we've got. Oh, unemployment is first. That's right. Okay, so let's just look at unemployment quickly here. There we go. Oh, I already have it up. So here's unemployment. Extension of emergency unemployment for government entities and nonprofits. Okay, here we go. Here's the FPUC. So this is where you could see that the retroactive sections have kind of like, there is no retroactive section. So the FPUC provides that extra 13 weeks, or originally the extra 13 weeks to get you from the 39 weeks, I'm sorry, the 26 weeks of normal state pay to 39 weeks. Now, in terms of dates, what do we have here? We've got 2 weeks of unemployment beginning after December 26th through March 14th. So that's the new segment. And then instead of $600 as a boost from the CARES Act, they are inserting $300. So we're confirming it is $300. Nothing for retroactive. A ton of verbiage to dig through us. Honestly, the bills are exhausting to look through. Here's the no waiting period. Okay, what else do we have? I had this section where they, one second. Oh, is it? Here it is. Oh, sorry, here it is. This is the part that I wanted to mention, the pandemic unemployment. That's it. This section is getting extended to 50 weeks total. And so that's how they're getting to the extra 11 weeks. So you can see that here. They're striking 39 weeks because that was originally 26 plus 13. And now they're adding the extra 11. So this is where that is. That, if you wanted to see it, is on page 1929. It's absolutely insane how many pages there are on this. Okay, so that's unemployment. No surprise there. Return to work reporting requirements. So this was interesting. If you're on unemployment, it looks like they had a section in here that you can basically only refuse to return to work with good cause. I'm not sure what good cause is yet. I'm sure it's probably defined in here. But it's also possible that states are going to have to define what good cause is. Let's see what else we have. And I'll look at questions in just 1 second. And then we could search. If you have like specific questions that you want me to look up in this bill, let me know here. So what do we got over here? Oh, this is the section with the stimulus checks. So look at this. This here says an amount equal to the product of $600. Hold on, I want you to be able to see it all. There we go. An amount equal to the product of $600 multiplied by qualifying children. Okay, so for dependents is basically $600 per child. But then it says within the meaning of section 24 of the taxpayer code, basically. So if you Google section 24C, you'll see that this quote comes up: child who has not attained age 17. So it kind of, it burns college students. It burns 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds get burned. It burns adult dependents. Kind of unfair there that they, they should have really fixed that last time. This is the $5 per 1,000 I mentioned, or per 100. I'm sorry. I want to make that very clear. It's $5 per $100 that you make more above the initial income thresholds. Is what you lose in terms of your stimulus check. So $5 per 100, 5%. Make that very clear because I messed that up yesterday. Okay, this is the tax return section. This verifies that if you are on Social Security receiving railroad retirement benefits, or you are a veteran, you get your stimulus check as well. They will use your income from those sources to determine whether or not you qualify. What else I have highlighted here? SSI is in here as well. Oh, I did write this down. I don't know where I highlighted this, but I wrote this down. You're not allowed to have your stimulus check garnished if there is I want to make sure of this: state debt, bank debt, and federal debt. Honestly, I don't know what the difference between state debt and federal debt. Oh, I guess it would be like tax debt, right? Like if you had state debt that you owed or federal debt. But anyway, yeah, bank debt, state debt, and federal debt are not allowed to garnish your stimulus checks. That's a big thing. I know that was a big issue the last time around. I actually did not see anything about child support. Maybe I could do a search in here, child support, because I know that came up. Oh my gosh, there's so many results. 35 matches for child support. Hold on, let's see what page we're on here. So for stimulus check stuff, we're on 1981, and child support around 1900 is only, no, I don't think there's any mention regarding child support near the stimulus checks. So I don't think there's going to be, I don't know what that's going to mean then. We're going to have to figure out if child support is going to get moved. Because last time, the person who was, maybe I could search by garnishment. Last time, if somebody owed child support, the person who would get the child support, they got the money. Okay, here we go. Exemption from, let's see here. Okay, so the stimulus checks, okay, so this is about 6 pages after the stimulus check segment. Garnishment, financial institutions, let's see here. So this is probably going to take a little bit more reading than is worth doing right now. Oh, wait, here, child support. Okay, hold on. Child support is in here. So here it is. I'm going to give you the page number, 1988 for child support. Okay, a financial institution shall not fail to follow the procedures of Section 2, whatever, of such title with respect to a garnishment order merely because such order has attached or includes a notice of right of garnishment, federal benefit, blah, 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 issued by state child support. Okay, so shall not fail to follow the procedures regarding garnishment because of child support. So it looks like, and I want to make sure this is relating to stimulus checks, it's possible that child support will still be garnished. This is under the assignment of benefits section. And so that comes right after, here's the stimulus check talk, right? And so right after that, we do get garnishment for child support, but not for bank, state, and federal debts. So clarification there. And again, this is like a first look, right? This is like very overwhelming. Try my best. Okay, let's go to some other highlighted sections here, and then I'll specifically look for some requests that you have. So extension of certain deferred payroll taxes. Oh, yeah, maybe somebody else is familiar with this, and somebody in the chat. If you don't want to be a member, you could also just write in, like, I'm sorry, like, unfortunately, you probably have to put in your question with like 99 cents or whatever, but it'll let you do that, or just be a member. So, and that way I'm not scrolling through a million, because probably you guys have similar questions, guys and gals. Okay, so so somebody probably knows this better than I do, but extension of certain deferred payroll taxes. So remember when Trump said no payroll taxes, like we're going to stop collecting payroll taxes? Well, you got to pay those back. It used to be that you had to pay that payroll tax money back by April 30th, and that's gotten extended to December 31st. But then there's another segment that actually kicks some kind of May 1st deadline. I don't know if that's like the second half or it's something else, all the way out to January 1, 22, sorry. So even further. So I don't know exactly why this is divided into two. So that's a question mark for me still. I'm kind of just a lot of this is like, I mean, it's technically some of these pages are second look for me, but this is still very much first look. Clarification of tax treatment for forgiveness of, okay, this is the PPP. Yeah. This is huge, folks, right here. Look at this. No deduction shall be denied. No tax shall be reduced. No basis shall be increased, whatever. Okay, basically, you're allowed to deduct your PPP expenses. Like, it is such a huge benefit. We talked about that in the summary about how huge of a benefit that is. Really, really big benefit here. All right, what else do we have? These are the emergency financial aid grants for students. What do we got? No grant shall be considered gross income. Okay, let's see what else we've got. This is, they included a lot more sections in PPP, like property damage. I think a lot of that came after the riots. So you've got property damage, you've got, personnel, or protective equipment is in there. A lot of things in here. Let's see, what else did I highlight in my sort of first run through? Second draw period. This was, they did change this to 25%. So if you have not more than 300 employees, so you could have up to 300 employees, and your gross receipts, does it say gross? Yeah, gross receipts. So it's not net income, it's gross income. Gross income, that's actually a good distinction there. 25% reduction, and then you can qualify for a second. Qualifying for another first, I haven't 100% figured this out yet. They kind of made it seem like, basically, if you wanted another first, you could only, or if you wanted to apply for the first, you could only apply if you like paid the money back or you got less than you had. It was pretty confusing. It's over here on page 2084. Not later than 17 days after the enactment of this act, without regard to blah, 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 there should be rules issued. So we're going to get some new rules and clarity. In the case of an eligible recipient that returned all or part of the included covered loan, the eligible recipient may reapply for a covered loan for an amount equal to the difference between the amount retained and the maximum applicable. So basically, if you gave back your PPP loan, you'll be able to apply again. I didn't see anything yet, anything for like initial, like first time applications, like very first time. In the case an eligible recipient did not accept the full amount of a covered loan, the eligible recipient may request a modification to increase the amount to the maximum applicable. So I still have to look around to see if there's anything on applying for the first time. This is for churches, increased ability for paycheck borrowers to request an increase. We saw that. If I go back over here, we see the headline of second coming up. One sec. These sections are insanely long. Oh, it's right here. Here we go. See, Paycheck Protection Program second draw loans is section 311. What's the section before that? Clarification on additional, this is eligibility, demographics. What is this? Simplified forgiveness application. Oh, okay. Maybe if we go forward, we'll be able to see a new first section here, kind of discovering this together here. Okay, continuing the PPP. Okay, let's go back to here. Continuing the PPP, additional eligible expenses. Yeah, they just don't make it very clear where you might be able to get your first loan, other than modifying if you applied and then maybe you didn't take it. That would work. Selection of coverage period, whether you do the 8 weeks or the 24 weeks is in here. Record requirements, covered loan for more than 150 versus 100 under 150, specific group insurance, demographic clarification. Then we go right into second. Yeah, so there's nothing that clearly establishes a brand new first window, at least that I can see thus far. Calculation of maximum loan amount for farmers. Then the next heading that I get goes to definition of seasonal employee, housing cooperatives, eligibility. Oh, no, that's news organizations. I thought it said maybe new organizations, but see, now we have eligibility of news organizations for the PPP. Let's hit a couple more headlines here, because I would like to see that everybody could apply for it again if you didn't get it the first time. We'll do Q&A in just a second here. I know some of you are okay, you can't use the PPP to lobby. Bankruptcy provisions. What else? Oversight. conflict of interest. Yeah, I don't think they're reopening this for a real first option here, unfortunately. Grants for shuttered venue operators. Oh, that's where that is. Okay, this was the SOS provision is here. So this is where Chuck Schumer's bill basically got in. But I don't know how many live venue operators are following me, but if you are, you can find that under page 2127. Promoter, sound engineer, stage manager. Okay. So let's jump over to the next section. I want to get to rental relief as well. Okay, so here's the EIDL. We talked about the EIDL already, how the targeted section is only for covered entities, which would be your income declining. What was it again? Let's pull it here. 30% decline in income, and you have to be located in a low-income community. I promise I will catch up on Q&A. I know I see y'all. Okay, let me get to another highlight here. What do I got here? So this section, this is emergency rental assistance, $25 billion. Reservation, okay, so then it gets divided out, $400 million for the territories, $800 million to eligible, not sure what that means, to eligible grantees here. We'll figure that out. Payments for rental assistance, allocation to the state and units of local governments. The amounts under Section 1, which is probably going to be somewhere around 20, well, it's 25 billion. Oh, yeah, 25 billion, okay. The amounts of under 20, okay, so under that section, so 25 billion gets allocated to the states and local government. The deadline for payments under the Act for purposes of payments shall be 30 days after the date of enactment. Now, I don't think that means your deadline is 30 days. If it is, that's a short window. I think that's the states have 30 days to apply. So eligible grantees are states and local governments. See, so the federal government's not granting any of this to people. So it's gonna be a disaster. Every state is gonna have different rules. Allocations to territories. I don't care about that. We don't really care how it gets allocated. We just care about what happens once you get it. Here we go. Okay, so here we go. Financial assistance. Not less than 90% of the funds received by an eligible grantee from a payment made under this section shall be used for financial assistance to eligible households. So remember that eligible grantee in this is actually a state or local government. Sorry, I know it's cut off there a little bit. Whatever, we're good. The money should go to eligible households. So we'll have to define what the heck eligible households are. And the money's going to go to rent, rental arrears, utilities and home energy costs, in arrears. So you actually get utilities, back rent, and forward rent. See, that's why they have rent and rental arrears here as separate, because you get rent going forward too. But they've got some rules on that. Other expenses related to housing incurred due to directly or indirectly to COVID. I wonder what other expenses could be. Like maybe this could in theory be I had to buy an air purifier. In fact, if you want an air purifier, go to metkevin.com/air. That's my favorite air purifier. I got 2 of those things, especially since we got the fires out here and Lauren's got asthma. But it also works on killing COVID. All right, what else do we got here? So such assistance shall be provided for a period not to exceed 12 months. 12 months of rental assistance. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's generous. But now it's just a matter of how do you qualify for that 12 months, right? And then so the states may provide up to an additional 3 months if necessary to ensure housing stability. Limitation on assistance for prospective rent payments. So that's future payments. Subject to the exception in this clause, shall not provide money to an eligible household for more than 3 months going forward. Okay, so you get up to 12 months going back, 12 months back, and 3 forward. Okay. But we still don't know if they have any rules for what it takes to qualify for this. Like, it should be just people who are behind on rent, right? You got to figure out how to prove that somehow, I suppose. Or I guess everybody's renting from their uncle and they haven't been paying rent for a year. Yeah, that's going to be a massive problem. I'll tell you that. Everybody's a tenant all of a sudden. Jeez. Okay. So distribution of financial assistance. With respect to financial assistance for rent and rental arrears and utilities and home energy costs. That's kind of cool. I mean, air conditioning's in here basically, right? And home energy costs arrears provided to an eligible household from a payment made under the section. An eligible state shall make payments to a lessor or utility. Oh, the payments are going to the landlord. Again, your uncle. It's terrible. Don't do that. Going to the landlord direct. So the state is making payments to landlords directly on behalf of the eligible household, except if the landlord or utility does not agree to accept such payments from the state after outreach from the state may make such payment directly to the eligible household. Okay. So basically, it's going to go landlord and utility, and then if there's money left over or whatever, then it goes to tenant. Okay, that's going to be really entertaining to see how they actually work that out. It's terrible. All right. A rule of construction: for any payments made by eligible grantee to a lessor on behalf of the eligible grantee shall provide documentation. So the state shall provide documentation of such payments to such household. So okay, so this way the landlord can't screw the tenant, right? So for example, the state says here's $10,000 to the landlord. The state's going to send a letter to the tenant going, "Yo, we paid 10 grand of your rent." Makes sense. Not more than 10% of the funds received by an eligible grantee from a payment made under this section may be used to provide eligible households with case management. Aha, okay, so 10% is going to case management and other services as defined by the secretary, intended to keep housing stable. That sounds like basically whatever the heck the government wants. Prioritization of assistance in reviewing applications for so tenants are going to have to make applications to their state or local government. In reviewing applications for financial assistance and housing stability services to eligible households from a payment made under this section, an eligible grantee shall prioritize considerations of applicants of an eligible what household that satisfies the following conditions. Okay, priority. So the people who get rental relief first are households. The income of the household does not exceed 50% of the area median income. 50% of the area. Okay, so that's a little tricky the way they word that, because if you type in area median income Ventura County, let's say, I'll pull this up on my computer and I'll share it with you. They give you those percentages. They tell you what 50% is. See here, look on screen here and see this says a one person household is at 50% at $39,000. So you are prioritized at this, and you can kind of look at these charts, and it's different for every county, right? So I imagine, like, for example, whatever department this is probably going to be the department that ends up having to deal with these distributions. So what is this? Area Housing Authority of the County of Ventura. Like, they would probably be the ones that tenants would have to apply to get their money. And you go to the top of the list if your income is under the 50% marker. So for example, if you're a family of 4 in Ventura, California, or Ventura County, this is the 50% marker. You get priority in that case. So that's how you can figure that out. Let's go back to the bill here. Oh man, it's exhausting. Imagine how the senators and representatives got to deal with this. They probably just won't even read it. It's terrible. All right. The income of the house. Okay, we read that one. One or more individuals within the household is unemployed. As of the date of the application. So if you are unemployed, you get priority. And have not been employed for the 90-day period preceding such date. Okay. So it's not like you could just literally quit your job and go, I'm unemployed. Okay. Nothing in the section shall be construed to prohibit a state from providing a process for further prioritizing. So California could go in and say, any state could go in and say, well, we want to really prioritize money going to, X community or this opportunity zone, or, in theory, they could even do a certain race. They could do whatever they wanted to. Okay, what else? So administrative costs, that doesn't matter to us. So we're going to keep going on this. Okay, a landlord must obtain signature of, oh, this is interesting. Hold on. This will be interesting. Requirement for application submitted on behalf of tenants. Oh, landlords might be able to submit applications on behalf of the tenants. Oh, interesting. Nothing shall preclude a landlord. Oh, this puts the onus on landlords to prevent tenants from potentially applying for money and not giving it to the landlord, or, you know, I don't know what holes there could be, but this is interesting. So basically, it could be like a race between the tenant and landlord. Although technically, they did say they're supposed to pay the landlord first. But anyway, so it looks like both people can apply. That's interesting. So nothing shall preclude a landlord or owner of a residential dwelling from assisting a renter in applying. So you can help a renter apply or apply on behalf of the renter. Hey, you haven't been paying? Fine, I'll go get my money from the government. I mean, that makes sense to me. If a landlord or owner of a residential dwelling submits an application for assistance from a payment made under this section on behalf of the renter, the landlord must obtain the signature of the tenant, okay, which may be done electronically. Okay. I hope everybody's been nice to their tenants. Documentation of such application shall be provided to the tenant by the landlord. That makes sense. Any payments received by the landlord, I'll highlight this. Any payments received by the landlord from a payment shall be used to satisfy the rent obligations. That makes sense. Reporting requirements. Okay, what else we got here? Okay, the number of eligible houses. Okay, that's for the government. We don't care about that. Okay, household income level. With such information disaggregated for households with. Oh, okay. So this is their criteria basically to make sure that this money is really prioritized for the people with the lowest income. Privacy requirement. Each state that receives a payment, data privacy, okay. Privacy of individuals and households is protected. I mean, that's what they say until you get hacked. But hey, I mean, whatever. If you get the rental assistance, do it. Treatment of assistance shall not be regarded as income. Okay, that's interesting. Assistance provided to a household from a payment made under this shall not be treated as income, but it should be income for the landlord, and shall not be regarded as a resource for purpose of determining eligibility. Okay, so it's not income for the tenant. Right, not income for the tenant. There's nothing, but it would be income for the landlord, and that's why they didn't mention anything about that. Well, that entirely makes sense. Otherwise, it would be like another double dip tax deduction like they gave in the PPP. Term eligible household means one or more individuals obligated to pay rent on a dwelling with respect to you've qualified for unemployment or you've experienced a reduction in household, incurred significant costs. Ooh, that's an interesting line here. I mean, I wonder if how many tenants this is really going to apply to, or experience other financial hardship directly or indirectly to COVID. This sounds like they took the text right out of mortgage forbearance. Wow. That one or more individuals within a household can demonstrate a risk of experiencing homelessness. So, which the applicant shall attest. So you have to attest in writing that someone in the household is at risk of experiencing homelessness or housing instability, which may include, so housing instability may include a past due utility. This is a pretty low standard here to actually apply for a rental aid, or a notice of eviction, notice or eviction notice, rent notice, so late rent notice, unsafe or healthy living conditions, or evidence of such risking. Okay, all right, got it. So basically, if you can attest that you potentially are going to be in a situation with unstable housing, or you might experience housing instability, you could probably apply. I would imagine the sooner you apply, the better, given that they do prioritize based, like they don't exclude you if you make more than the median income. But, the faster you're in, if you're over those income thresholds, probably the greater the chances you get the money, since this money basically just keeps going until it's gone. Going until it's gone, of course. Okay, so what is this? Income determination. In determining the income of a household for purpose of determining housing eligibility. They're going to look at your 2020 income. Okay, subject to sufficient confirmation as determined by the secretary. So basically, to be determined how you prove that your income. So it's harder than mortgage forbearance because you actually have to prove your income. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now we're going into community development. I do want to look and see if there's anything on forbearance. Let's see if that'll come up, and then I'm going to look at some questions here. Forbearance. What's this? What section is this under? Let's see. Capital investments for neighborhoods impacted by. I don't think they mentioned anything about forbearance in here because that's the. Oh, I got 5 search results. Debtor has entered into forbearance. What is this for? Bankruptcy relief? No, that doesn't matter. We're looking for mortgage forbearance. What is this one? This is CARES forbearance claims. Okay, hold on. What subsection is this under? And that's under bankruptcy relief too, so that's pretty niche. I don't see anything about mortgage forbearance in here. So let's look at some of the questions y'all have. Okay, I'm gonna scroll up a little bit. So the questions y'all have, because what I can do is I can Google in here and see what, or not Google. I can actually just type into this. Okay, can I sign the back of the stimulus check and send it back to pay my taxes? That's a really difficult question to say. I mean, I don't know why you would do it that way. I mean, why don't you just deposit it and then throw it into the stock market until you actually owe your taxes? I think that sounds like an accounting nightmare, honestly. So, yep. So no double dip provision. So we do have unemployed getting the stimulus checks. I'm dying to know the EIDL grant. So we talked about that. Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. I don't think there's anything else other than basically trying to fix the EIDL advances for hard hit businesses and the harder hit areas. That's for clarification on EIDL. Okay, so not that one. I'll go back to that section really quick one more time. EIDL advance. So we looked at that. Okay, covered entity. We talked about that. Emergency EIDL grants. So we got it here. You all can see this. So what is this? Let's look at this section, because earlier we talked about specifically how it might modify, but then we've got this section here we haven't done highlighting on. Emergency EIDL grants. So approve the applicant based solely on credit score of the applicant. Okay, yeah, insert the following, or by using an alternate method, right? Advances, striking within 3 days. Yeah, that was a disaster. And adding timing with respect to each request, no later than 21 days. Okay, they're now giving 21 days to distribute money, which is pretty much what it was anyway. Repeal of the EIDL advance deduction. What does this mean? Covered entity means the entity receives an advance. Term covered period. This is something. Okay, I'm going to have to look at CARES Act rules here. Something changed here. Repeal of the advance deduction. We'll have to figure out what that is. That's interesting. Documentation for eligible recipients. 12. And those are the loans. Yeah, the EIDL grants, it's going to be a lot harder to get the EIDL grant because you've got to fall within those income restrictions now. And you have to show that your income has also declined. So you've got a lot of changes here. Okay, let's see what other questions we've got. So, okay. Just all right. If your business, okay, hold on. Should I apply? I mean, we'll see when the EIDL portal opens up again. I suppose, it probably doesn't hurt to apply, but look at, I showed you in this video how to check if you're, what income threshold you're in. So we won't do that again. Okay. Hopefully colleges and CARES Act. Yeah, I wonder if we have what the higher education provision here is. Higher education. Let's see if I can find that. Higher education. The problem is we've got the state funding or the country's funding bill in here as well. So there are actually 172 results for higher education. I know the stimulus portion is between It's around the 2000s. So let's just go to the 2000s really quick and see if we can see. Department of Education. Oh, yeah, here we go. Okay. Good call. I found that fast. Come on, that was good. Education Stability Fund. Here's that 82 bill. It's not exactly 82 bill. Remains available until 2022. Wow, September 30th, 2022. Allocations. Okay, those are state allocations. I don't think we care terribly about that. 1% here. Da, 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 da. Okay, those are for tribal regions. Where's the big money? Governor's Relief Fund. So governors are getting 2.7 billion. Pretty sure that's a smaller portion. And then they're responsible for giving that or allocating that money from there. Then each state applies for an allocation. And would love to see if they can divide out the percentages. I saw it under the governor section. Public control of funds. I don't know if they're going to make this easy on me. Grants, planning. Oh my gosh. It's honestly endless, the amount of stuff. Oh, allocations. Found it. Reallocation. Okay. A state shall return any funds received under this section that they do not award within a year. Higher education emergency relief. Here's higher education. We found it. Okay, higher education. So, higher education with the following. So, 89% to each institution of higher education. Oh, this is so complicated. This is too complicated for me to understand, I think. Okay, oh, that 89% gets divided like this. Oh, that's easier. 37.5% to federal Pell Grants, 37.5% to Pell Grant recipients who were not exclusively enrolled in distance education. Although that's what both of them say. Yeah, this is gonna. You could probably screenshot here and read more about this. 11.5%. All right. School section a little bit more complicated. Sorry about that. But what I can tell you is what page it's on. It's on page 1881, and you can go to metkevin.com/bill, and then you can check it out yourself. Yeah, I don't know if we're still going to be able to qualify for new first PPP loans. Not sure about that yet. Is the UI bonus of $300? Oh, where's the $100 a week? Yeah. Let's figure out that. That's a complicated. I know that's going to be a complicated section. But let's see if we can find it. So, oh my gosh, $100 has been mentioned way too many times in here. So that might also be very difficult. Although that should be under the unemployment section. So the unemployment section, if I can find that, I might be able to get closer. So unemployment, that's the rental aid section in the 2200s. Unemployment, I think, was like 1800 or something like that. Okay, so education was also 18s. It's unemployment. Each of these sections is like hundreds of pages long. It's honestly ridiculous. Paycheck. Okay, the PPP is right around 2,000. Let's try with the $600. Or if I could do PUA. Ah, there we go, PUA, and it came up right away. Okay, perfect. So that's around 1,900. Let's now do the $100 around 1,900. Let's see if we could figure that $100 side hustle benefit out. $100. That's 100%. 100%. Okay. Let's see what it says. 100%. 100%. $100. Got it. Yes. Oh, I love it. It's like digging for gold. Mixed earner unemployment compensation. Okay. Here we go. The document loads so slowly because it's so large. Okay, so an additional $100 as a mixed earner unemployment compensation in any case in which the individual received at least $5,000 of self-employment income in the most recent taxable year ending prior to, I imagine, prior to their application for unemployment. Okay, got it. So as long as you made $5,000 on unemployment before you, in the year prior to you applying for unemployment, and certain documentation required for the substantiation of self-employment income. What is it? Confirming amendments. Well, what is the documentation required? An agreement under this section shall include a requirement for the substantiation. Okay, so somehow you're going to have to prove that you made $5,000 of income. So by inserting. Okay. Lots of replacing verbiage. I hate it when they do that. For the purpose of preceding provisions. Gosh, they made this really complicated. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I might just mention what page this is on and give up here in a second because this is insane. States' right of non-participation. Any state participating in an agreement may elect to continue paying without providing. Okay, so states do not have to provide the $100, but we found out that you have to make at least $5,000 in the prior. And the whole purpose of this $100 section is, let's say in 2019, you were W-2 as an employee, W-2, and you were self-employed and you made at least $5,000 doing a side hustle. We talk a lot about that in my courses, by the way. Like everyone watching this video should have a side hustle. Great way to get some tax benefits. Anyway, so you're W-2 in 2019, you're self-employed in 2019, you get at least $5,000 in self-employment income. And now in 2020, you lose your W-2 job, let's say. At what point does this extra $100 qualify? And I think that's the tricky thing is how do we get that extra $100? I think it's only if your state benefits are below a certain amount. But let's see. Yeah, and I think that's where we're just going to have to kind of read this in detail because everything here is striking, plus an additional $100 in any case in any case in which the individual received at least $5,000 of unemployment income in the most recent taxable year ending prior. Mixed earner unemployment compensation. Extra $100. You have to substantiate the income. Yeah, this is going to take some more reading, but it's definitely in here. So we'll have to figure that out in detail. Let me see what I wrote down in the summary, because that actually might give me a hint, because I had a good breakdown of this here. So this is in there, the $100. $100 on top of $300 for the self-employed who lost their W-2 job. Yeah, state to provide more details, right? Oh, yeah, here. Bill will also provide an extra benefit of $100 per week for certain workers who have both wage and self-employment income, but whose base unemployment benefit calculation doesn't take into account their self-employment income. Ah, that's right. That's right. Okay. So you're totally unemployed now, and you go to apply for unemployment, and the state's like, well, we can only give you, like, let's say our max unemployment in Florida is $275. Well, you didn't make enough income, so we're only going to give you $100 of unemployment. Yeah, but I had self-employment income. Oh, we don't count that. Okay, in that case, you get the boost of $100. Okay, all right, we got that together now. So little tricky, but that is that's the nature of these bills. So I don't know. Hopefully that helped you a little bit. Student loans. Oh, like student loan forbearance. Well, the word forbearance was barely in here. Student loan. Let's see if that's under the stimulus, because that was supposed to get pushed out to like April. Let's see if it's actually in here. Student loan repayment, student loans, student loan cap. That's a good question. No, now I'm too far. So they got a whole tax section at the end of this bill too. It's insane the amount of stuff that's in here. Student loan financial assistance. Okay, that's monies available. Those are expenses available through September 30th. Student loan contracts. I wonder if they just give us a clear expectation here as to what the what they extended it to, if they even did. That's a really good question. I don't know how quickly we're going to be able to find that one. Oh wait, no. Well, I'll mention this, and we'll have to get to the bottom of this. This is around page 1048. All right, what else do we have? So the 50 weeks. I ran out of unemployment today. Actually, you're saying they will extend it to 50 weeks to fill my account again. Yeah, basically. So if you ran out of you used up your 39 weeks, you're going to get the 11 extra. Does rental utility assistance help with mortgage and homeowners? No, because you could take forbearance. You could still take forbearance. You could actually watch my video on that. I just posted like 2 days ago. Can one get a PPP loan as a rideshare driver? I don't know if we're going to be able to get new first-time PPP loans is the problem. What else here? What if I'm a veteran but don't get retirement, but didn't file my 2019 taxes? I did get a check last time based on my 2018 filing. They're going to go back to your 2018 filing again. So you should be okay because they're still looking for your 2008 taxes too. Bloomberg talked about that this morning. Oh, yeah, if you haven't received your first check yet, it's gotten to the point where you're just going to put that on your tax return for 2020. And then you'll get the credit at that point. If I'm low income and qualified for the $1,000 EIDL with my Schedule C business the first time, do you think I can get a new one? Yeah, so actually this section says if you're low income and your income fell, you should actually be able to get the full $10,000. We needed okay, veteran owned. Yeah, I don't know if you can qualify for a PPP loan the first time. My unemployment insurance claim says it expired and I need to refile. I mean, I would file a new claim, yeah. But we'll see what your states send out in the next few days. Maybe wait for that. Do you need $100 minimum state unemployment to get the Fed boost? No, good question. That is gone. So we should actually put that. Actually, I have that. That is gone. So I'm gonna mark that gone. Good question. What else? So my traditional UI. Yeah, okay. Well, I just answered that one. Let's see. These business loans. Pretty sure everybody's going to be able to qualify for the unemployment extension. You shouldn't have a problem getting the extra 11 weeks. They're not trying to screw you, so to speak. These business loans help businesses that open in Feb 21. There's a date. There's a specific date cutoff on PPP. I'm not sure. 13 replacement. If I exhaust my same answer there. Okay, let's see here. What is Samfoth? What are you saying? Yes. Read it. I can't apply for. Okay, I think you guys are having a conversation amongst each other. All right. Earned income credit if PUA all year. Oh, the answer should be yes. But earned income tax. Let's see if we can find it. Part of the stimulus. Here we go. Election to use prior. Boom! I think we got it. Hold on. Let's see if we did. Maybe I shouldn't get too excited. Election to use prior year net earnings from self-employment in determining average daily self-employment income for purposes of credits for sick pay. Oh, and leave. Okay, so you could use your 2019 income to determine your paid leave, but we want the earned income tax credit. I think it applies to, I think it's the same thing for the earned income tax credit, but maybe I shouldn't have cheered so quickly on that because that was a different reference. Let's see. I'll go back into the search here. Earned income tax credit. Oftentimes they shorten that. Let's see if we can EITC. Let's see if that'll pull it up. No, that's a good question. I'm pretty sure the answer is you will be able to use last year's income. It's going to be very similar to that section. You'll be able to use last year's income. Temporary special rule for determining earned income. This might be the section. Temporary special rule for determining earned income. If the earned income of the taxpayer is less than the earned income of the taxpayer for the preceding year, the credits allowed under section determined by. Yeah, okay, you take the prior year. Let me just look that up really quick. Section 24D IRC. Section 24D. Okay, that's the child tax credit. So 24 is child, and I'm guessing 32 is the earned income. So yeah, okay, and that's earned income tax credit. There you go. Solved. It does look like there are child support garnishments. Yes. Not passed yet. You're only going to get the balance of the 10K if you are, it looks like if you are in a low income area and your income has fallen by a certain percentage. Will there be any type of payback when it comes to unemployment? Retroactive, no. Requirements for the EIDL grant. Yeah, we've gone through that a couple times in this video. It's like your income had to go down like 50% or 30%. It was one of those, 50 or 30%. Let's see if we can look at it again really quick. And then I got to go. So 30%, and you have to be in a low income community. That's what we've got so far. That's why they're calling it targeted. So let me see if I could do maybe one or two more questions, and then I got to go. So let's see here. Last year, I couldn't claim the EITC and the child tax credit, then automatically gave the EITC, but not child. What about the 2020 tax year? Whether you could use your, well, I mean, you'd have to have earned income in 2020 to be able to qualify, right? In fact, here, I'll put this up on screen for you so you could see. Generally, these were the rules the last time. So you can kind of take a screenshot of like this section right here. This is the earned income tax credit, and then the child tax credit items that we've got. We need to, and no retroactive pay for unemployment. No. Okay. All right. So I think we did good. That's what I got right now. That's the first look, and that was a lot. Okay, I'm exhausted. Thank you for watching this live with me and going through it live with me. And folks, hey, we'll see you in the next video.